This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome, Shruti. Welcome, Kapil. Bantu, good to see you here.
Hello Ravi, how are you?
Very good, Bantu. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Talking to you
I'm
after ages, I guess.
yes.
How is Buildersoft?
Yeah, Birla Sab is okay.
Hi, Mantu. I'm Nathan.
Nitin, how are you?
Anything. How are you?
Ravi, Mantu and me are working together right now in Birlasoft, so just wanted to say hi to Mantu.
Yes.
Okay, okay,
We are working the same project.
fantastic. Okay, is it? Nitin is also in associated with Lloyd's.
Right.
Actually, no,
No, I'm not. Basically, I'm not a developer, so I'm a consultant here, but I do implementation of the specialty insurance lines on the London market.
Okay, that's fantastic. Yeah, we have a couple of folks joining, still joining, but I think we have a lot of folks already joined in. What do you think, Amit? You are okay to start?
I think it will be good to kickstart. Yeah.
Okay, yes, of course, yes. I think we have many people here, so we can start now. So first of all, you just keep your mic on mute. Apurva, welcome to the forum. Okay,
Yeah, hello.
yes, Apurva, good to see you here. Okay, guys, so let's start, and we will welcome other folks, during our session. So, well, hello and welcome to this special edition of Let's Talk Business. As always, I'm super excited to have you here. First of all, thanks for joining us in this session. And in today's episode, we are going to discuss about Lloyd's of London, its processes, uh, in slightly in a broader way, and we are also talking about its modernization initiatives. So this particular session is scheduled for 1 hour, out of which 45 minutes uh, we are going to share our screens. We are going to discuss about what is Lloyd's, and remaining 15 minutes is for open discussion, where we can ask questions. So we have an industry expert, Amit, here, and Amit will be talking about Lloyd's in this session. Amit, thanks a lot for joining us. And again, thanks a lot for giving your valuable time. So it will
Thank
be
you,
good,
Ravi.
Amit, if you can introduce yourself to the other folks so that we can know you better. And then we will kick start.
Sure. So at the moment, just to check, you are able to see the presentation screen.
Amit, yes, I can able to see your presentation screen, and I'll be
Okay.
taking all the minute notes.
Okay. So thank you everyone for joining on this summer Saturday. Hope that you had good lunch, and we'll try to, uh, I think, contribute to the best of our ability, and not to let you sleep, because sometimes such topics may become very dry. So let's see how it goes. Please allow me to give a quick background about myself, especially for those who do not know me. So I worked with a couple of non-life insurance companies in India before joining an information technology organization. Initially, I spent 9.5 years with APSU, National Insurance, and then I moved to Chola MS and spent around 8 years there. I was heading claims function for a few of Indian states before I left Chola. and now I have been working for close to 7 years now as senior consultant with NIT and work in the commercial insurance projects, especially related to Lloyd's market. So let me share an interesting and very short story before we start our actual session. So when I was resigning Chola MS, my senior was reluctant to relieve me as I was part of various technology initiatives along with my domain function. When I pursued with him quite rigorously, he suggested to mention in my resignation mail that I will be working for syndicates of Lloyd's in future so that it will be easy for him to get my resignation accepted. So my dear friends, from this experience, you can easily understand that how much respect we carry in our hearts for Lloyd's of London. And it made my seniors uh, steps easy that because Amit is going to grow in a different market and that too in a respectable market. So he was able to get my resignation accepted. And here I am today with you. So therefore, it is my honor to talk about this historical iconic institution today. And thank you, Ravi, again for this fantastic opportunity. We all acknowledge you for your excellent contribution for making us learn about nuances of this market by your channel, Let's Talk Business. So friends, I recommend to everyone, and I mean it, that if you have not yet gone to this channel and you want to deep dive into this market, just visit to his channel and you will find what you're looking for.
Thank you, Amit.
Okay, so during the time when I'm talking, if anything makes you curious, uh, just drop a message in the chat window. We will make sure to keep checking chat and address your queries as we move forward. Logically, I think we'll cover things more in open house to make the session more integrated. But if anything, by chance we are not able to cover during open house due to paucity of time, me and Ravi are always there to address your queries by mail or any other mode. Yeah. So here we go. First of all, I think few of you who would have traveled to London, they would have seen this iconic building in of Lloyd's in one of the central hubs of London. So it's a fantastic piece of architecture, and it's worth visiting if you ever get chance to visit to London. Okay, so in this session, what we would like to cover, you can see on the screen. We will briefly talk about what Lloyd's is, its brief history, its way of working. We will also touch base high-level process life cycle in Lloyd's. We will also understand a little bit. In this time, it's not possible because it's a market with complex processes. So we'll touch base a little bit about stakeholders involved during business. We will also talk about some financial numbers. Then I'll hand over to Ravi to talk about some of the technology initiatives being taken by Lloyd's as part of their modernization program. And last but not the least, we have open house. We encourage all of you to join the open house with full energy. So we will request you to unmute yourself and we will have a quick discussion and we'll also address as we face any queries during the session. Okay. So what is Lloyd's? I think many people get confused and say that Lloyd's is an insurance company, but actually it is not. This definition unambiguously clarifies, if you can see on the screen, it unambiguously clarifies that Lloyd's is a market where syndicates, brokers come under one flag, Lloyd's flag, and conduct insurance business. And we'll be discussing about this more in detail in upcoming slides. So before we go into more detail about how Lloyd's work, let me touch base about brief history of Lloyd's. So anything which you feel you would like to raise, keep pushing in chat window, and we'll make sure to address during open house. Okay. So if we talk about history of Lloyd's, Lloyd's started in a coffee house by a legend called Edward Lloyd. You can say that this was the place where insurance actually started initially for marine cargo and hull business. This was kind of mutual arrangement among cargo merchants and ship owners to take care of their interest basically, and you can see where it is now, a huge market serving great number of customers. Coming to an interesting business which Lloyd's actually took care in the year 1912, and we all love Titanic, isn't it? And it's a story. So my heart will go on. I think most of you remember the song, and I also love that song very much. So Titanic and its sister ship Olympic was insured by Lloyd's in the year 1912, and Lloyd's settled their claims within 30 days of tragedy, friends, and built a great trust and reputation among its customers at the time. The image on the slide which you are seeing was the actual policy slip issued to Titanic owners. This lists down the participation shared by multiple syndicates of Lloyd's, and this was a huge risk in terms of value. Various syndicates came forward to insure it. Yeah. So we'll talk about who are syndicates and other things in upcoming slides. So don't worry, if any word is a Greek and Latin for you, we will touch base on it shortly. So let me go to the next slide. So another interesting, I think, piece of significance in Lloyd's, we call it Lutyens' Bill at Lloyd's. So this iconic bell is stationed in Lloyd's underwriting room. It was earlier part of a ship called HMS Luton. Okay, in the year 1799, HMS Luton was transporting a vast sum of gold and silver insured at Lloyd's and was bound for Hamburg, Germany. And unfortunately, it met with an accident on the way. So out of 240 strong crew members, only one lucky survived. Only one lucky, my dear friends. An entire ship's cargo was lost. It was a huge blow for Lloyd's financially, but it also built its reputation for settling even the most extraordinary losses. So subsequently, when many attempts were made to recover the cargo with limited success, but in 1858, this bell was recovered and eventually came to the place where it is now. The bell has a great significance at Lloyd's. When overdue ships came in safety, the bell was rung twice to give a kind of relief to underwriters. If a ship was lost, the bell would ring once. So this way, everyone knew the fate of the ship and the cargo they had insured at the same time. So it used to happen earlier, but now this bell is rung only on ceremonial occasions. Okay, so coming to Lloyd's Loss Book. It's another piece of great significance. This book is kept very near to Luton's bell in underwriting room. Whenever there is a loss of ship, an entry is made in this book. You can see the image on the slide that an entry has been made in 2017 when a ship was sunk somewhere on the sea. Coming to stakeholders of Lloyd's now. So
Well,
let me quickly.
Before
Yes,
getting
sir.
into the stakeholders, right? If you can ask you one question. So we generally have one very common question, whenever we talk about the Lloyd's, and is Lloyd's is a subscription market. So before getting into the stakeholders, right? If you can give some shed some light on what is subscription market and all those things around it, that would be great.
Okay, thanks Ravi for raising this question. Not only Lloyd's, I think entire London market is a kind of subscription market where more than one carrier takes a share of the same risk. Each London market insurer takes a portion of risk, not the whole amount. So basically, they may have 50%, 60%. There may be one lead underwriter, and there may be some following underwriters on top of it. Lead underwriter may be somebody who has specialization in a particular business class, for example, fine arts, kidnap and ransom, liability business classes. So this enables smaller insurers to participate in the market alongside the local branches of world's, I think, largest insurers and reinsurers. So, Ravi, in a nutshell, the subscription market enables all the participating insurers to spend their risk efficiently. It also means that clients can find insurance for risks that are too large or complex in the market like Lloyd's. So hope it clarifies, Ravi.
Yes, Amit. Thank you. Thanks for explaining. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so let me now touch base on various stakeholders in Lloyd's. So we know who are the policy holders. We know who are the brokers. Most of us know whosoever work in insurance sector. But Lloyd's have some unique kind of stakeholders as compared to other conventional insurance markets. So we know, as I said, policyholders. Let me now take you through other stakeholders which work quite actively in Lloyd's of London. So first of all, broker. Brokers play a very important role in Lloyd's of London. Basically, they are the main channel or distribution channel of business. There may be other sources. We'll talk about them shortly. But you can say anything which goes to Lloyd's market that goes through brokers. Okay. So primarily it's a broker market. They can be producing brokers. They can be Lloyd's accredited brokers. So it's not essential that you need to be a Lloyd's broker to place business in Lloyd's, but you will have to route your business through Lloyd's accredited brokers to place your business in Lloyd's. So almost, I think at the end of 31st December 2019, there are almost 335 brokers at Lloyd's who are actively operating and placing business to Lloyd's of London. Coming to next slide. So syndicates. Sometimes people get confused with the syndicates with insurance companies, but basically syndicate is a kind of a setup which is created by one or many members. It's not essential that it has to be partnership. There can be one member who can come invest and form a syndicate, get the license from Lloyd's, but there can be multiple partners also. We'll talk about who are the members very shortly. Okay, so as written on the slides, you can see the syndicates are usually set up on annual basis, and then they renew their license as they continue business. Sometimes members get changed. So a member who was investor in a syndicate, they change the ownership, they move, but syndicate stamp continues for long run. So this is a very common phenomena in Lloyd's market, depending on how the business is being procured by a syndicate. So as on 31st December 2019, I think there were 93 syndicates at the Lloyd's. Maybe a couple of would have got added or deleted till now when we are at I think May month of 2020. Coming to managing agents. So managing agents are basically people which manage the complete operations on behalf of syndicate within Lloyd's. So syndicates are, as I said, setups, but they are not actual people which run business, which run operations. So the people which run business on ground are actually managing agents. Okay, so as mentioned in the slide, they have responsibility for employing underwriters, overseeing their underwriting and managing the infrastructure, complete day-to-day operations of a syndicate. So a syndicate can take care of one or many, sorry, my apologies. A managing agent can take care of one or many syndicates. So it is not essential that there will be one-to-one relationship. There can be one-to-many relationship within Lloyd's market. So as on 31st December 2019, you can see that there are 53 managing agents serving almost 90 plus syndicates. Now another crucial role or stakeholder comes in picture, cover holders. So usually, you know, as an insurer, you cannot spread your wings across geographies, across business classes. So sometimes you need right people, maybe in different geographies, to represent you. So cover holders authorize, I think, third parties, sorry, managing agents authorize third parties to accept insurance risk directly on behalf of syndicates. So they are one of the major distribution channels within Lloyd's, and it gives an opportunity to Lloyd's to avoid establishing themselves in a geography, and then they operate through this model, and this model works quite efficiently within current value chain of Lloyd's. So as on 31st December, you can see almost 3,950 approved cover holder office locations are there. So that way, kind of Lloyd becomes a worldwide. Uh, I think covers most of the geographies in the world. Coming to service companies, more or less similar concept, cover holders or service companies. So you can see they are kind of wholly owned by managing agents or their related group companies, and they are authorized to do the business in a particular geography on behalf of a syndicate. So they can even delegate their underwriting authority or business to cover holders. Okay, so I think I hope you are able to make out how the different stakeholders are coming in the picture in Lloyd's, and now we'll try to connect these stakeholders to a flow in upcoming slides. So as on 31st
Yes.
December 2019, there were almost 366 service companies at Lloyd's, and with the majority in UK and the US.
So
Okay, so
Amit,
let
got a
me now,
comment here. Um,
yes, Ravi.
uh, so these service companies are wholly owned companies. So do we have any service company in India? I mean, any service company operate in India?
Yes, Ravi. I think if you guys know, Lloyd's operation, I think started operations in India in April 2017 in Mumbai. So in the same year, there is I think a company called MS Amlin, which is a joint venture between Mitsui Sumitomo. Uh, I think it's not a joint venture. My apologies. It's a wholly owned syndicate of Lloyd's by Mitsui Sumitomo. So they came to India as a service company, but unfortunately, in July 2019, they had to move out due to its operating structure and performance. So I don't think so. If I'm correct, there's no other service company operating in India at the moment.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so let me take you to now understand another crucial stakeholder. So basically, you need a set of people. They manage complete operations. They need to oversee the complete operations of Lloyd's. So those people are part of Corporation of Lloyd's. So you can see on the screen, they provide infrastructure, including complete services and support, so that business can be smoothly functioned within Lloyd's of London. It's important to have capital or money in order to run business. So now members come in the picture. So, as I said earlier, members join and then they form syndicates. And these members are actually can be corporate organizations, they can be individuals, um, they can be huge insurance groups. As I said, Mitsui Sumitomo, Tokio Marine, many of the largest insurance groups have uh, syndicates, have invested in syndicates within Lloyd's of London. Okay, so let's understand how does Lloyd's work. Okay, so on right hand side, you can see that there is a capital flow. Members come in the picture. They infuse capital within the market by investing in syndicates. And on left hand side, you can see there's a business flow. So broker come in the picture. Cover holders, service companies, they become a crucial distribution channel in between policy holders, large scale organizations, I think different governments all across the world. So it's a specialist market. They do not do run of the mill business. They do not do retail. It's large scale businesses are conducted within Lloyd's. So we will touch base more in details now in upcoming slides. Okay, so it's important to understand a little bit about the process life cycle of Lloyd's. So if you see on the screen different boxes, uh, I think you can compare with any insurance market, any geography, almost similar process. But the beauty is in systems involved, beauty is in stakeholders involved, beauty is in how the business flows within Lloyd's of London. So it's a very distinct way of business which is flown, and I think I recommend to everyone that if you really want to know nuances or nitty gritties, just visit Ravi's channel, or there are different knowledge sources which we can always help you to go into deep. Yeah. So you can see risk placement, then risk become bind if it is okay to be accepted by underwriter. Then premium comes in picture, settlements happen. How it happens, we'll brief you a little bit. Then unfortunately, if claim comes, claim process is conventional, but how and which are the roles which take care of that, we'll touch base. And then reporting. Yeah. Coming to underwriting process. So friends, this looks a very simple uh, diagram, and we said that it's an introductory seminar. So don't just go by this small uh, diagram with three boxes. There are huge complexities involved when it comes to underwriting processes. There are whole set of messaging works in order to interface between central exchange of Lloyd's and then with the insurers, policy admin, or other systems. Okay, so you can see on the screen. Initially, when a broker comes in the picture, they can be cover holder or service company. I'm talking about broker here. So broker prepares a MRC. MRC is nothing but a market reform contract, and collect supporting documents from client. Then uh, they present MRC to underwriters of who are working in Lloyd's, either through different technology platforms. We call them placing platforms, or through visiting to Lloyd's of London, meeting an underwriter in the box. So still, business is done very traditionally, even though a lot of modernization initiatives are happening, but it's still huge set of businesses done traditionally in Lloyd's of London. So as I mentioned, being a subscription market, they may underwriter may take whole risk, but this is not very common. They accept part of the risk, then broker moves to another underwriter. One underwriter becomes lead, another underwriters follow that lead with the marginal shares. Okay. Then there is a central exchange within Lloyd's, which we call XIS, which is exchanging information services, where all settlements and details are entered, and then depending on the shares of syndicates, a premium details through messaging method is pushed to them, and then to and fro communication happens between XIS and systems of syndicates. Yeah.
So Amit, one
Coming to
question about MRC.
yes, sorry.
So, so this market reform contract is what basically? It's a proposal.
Ravi, in simple words, if you see, it's nothing but a proposal form where risk information is captured in a structured manner, and then this risk information, depending on the class of business, along with supporting documents, goes to underwriters. So if we see in India, we call it proposal form. So it's nothing but a proposal form. Make sense?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ravi. Coming to claim process now. So conventionally what happens, for example, in India, they may be broker or agent, they may not be a broker or agent. You intimate a claim to insurance company, but in Lloyd's, it's I think a set process where claim goes to broker. Claim is not directly intimated by insured to syndicates or managing agents. Okay, so then broker comes in the picture. Complete ownership of coordinating claim comes to the broker, and they prepare a necessary claim file, and then they move it to underwriter. Underwriter is not the right term here. Apologies, but the claims team, you can say, of managing agent. It goes to them. Claim is evaluated, and then another thing which came in the picture is XIS and XES. They are central exchanges which manage the communication and information flow between claim system of managing agent and Lloyd's, and then shares of claim passes to different syndicates depending on how much share they accepted as part of business initially. Yeah. Okay. So
Amit,
why
again,
not?
I'm really sorry to stop you here, but still,
Sorry.
there is a question, which keep on coming on various forums, right? How Lloyd's is able to manage its claim position. I mean, Lloyd's is having a distinct reputation in settling all the claims, no matter whether it's a Titanic or it's a World Trade Center or various hurricanes which we have experienced in the past. So how they're doing it, how they're managing it, do they have a lot of funds available with them?
So Ravi, I'll recommend you to Google and check how it works. If you just type in Google Lloyd's chain of security, you'll find a beautiful, I think, information on the screen. So basically,
Chain of
Lloyd's has a
security.
reputation. Yeah, Lloyd's chain of security. Yes.
Okay,
So
okay.
there are different layers. Initially, a syndicate has to manage. There's a first link, then there is a second link, and then there is a third link, which is Lloyd's own central fund. So I don't think so. There will be any situation in future where Lloyd's loses interest of their policyholders, because the chain of security is so strongly tightened that it doesn't look like that it will be ever be possible that Lloyd's have to, uh, I think, lose their credibility in the market. So it's an amazing chain of security where things are taken care on its own. And I think so far, historically, if you see, 1700th century and now, it has never happened that Lloyd's has to face any music in terms of losing interest of policyholders. Is it okay, or
Thank you.
do you have any question, Ravi?
No, absolutely. Thank you. I mean, this is one of the important questions, like how Lloyd's is managing their claims in these tough times, and they have a lot of chain of securities. So yeah, okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. So why not to understand mix of business which Lloyd's undertake? So you can see on the screen, and the source is annual report of 2018. I think 2019 has got also published, but I was not able to find a better representation of business through that annual report. So I thought there's a marginal difference. So I thought why not to present this way. So you can see on right hand top hand side, uh, we say that Lloyd's is dominantly a reinsurance market, but on the screen you can see that 31% market share of Lloyd's is on reinsurance business. Remaining is direct business, and within direct, 27% and 26% goes to property and casualty. Very marginal share is in motor, that is 3%, that to motor fleet, not retail motor, and aviation, 2%. Yeah. In terms of geographies, I think 50% is US and Canada, which is a huge share, and then 14% is in UK, 13% rest of the world, and we as India comes in 11% bucket. I don't know exactly what India contributes, but 11% is overall Central Asia and Asia Pacific. Yeah. So overall, who gives money or capital to Lloyd's? So you can also see sources again, annual report of Lloyd's for 2018. 20% almost is shared by US insurance industry, and then there are other partners. 13.4 by Bermudian insurance industry. Bermudian insurance industry is a primarily a reinsurance market, and it's a huge reinsurance market at the moment. And then other shares. So least is by Middle East organizations.
So these are
Okay.
the company which provide capital, I mean money to the
Yes,
Lloyds.
they invest as members, and then syndicates are formed. Yeah.
I understand. Okay.
So over to you, Ravi. I think you are champion in understanding technology initiatives of Lloyd's and what all is happening as part of their modernization program. So I hand over to you, Ravi.
Well, thank you, Amit. I'm not a champion. I'm just a business analyst like all of us in the call, right? I just learn and share knowledge. So, well, when it comes to technology initiative and modernization, right? Lloyd's is not different, and it is also competing with other market like US market, like Bermuda market, and of late Singaporean market. And they have to retain their competitive advantage. And technology really plays an important role in terms of sustaining their competitive advantage within the insurance industry. And that's the reason Lloyd's keep on trying. uh, Lloyd got a history of trying various modernization programs within their business. And I will talk about two recent programs which was there in the market, and people were discussing about it. So one of the old program is called TOM, is a target operating model, and it was initiated by Inga Bell in 2015. And the central idea behind this TOM program is to reduce the cost of doing business in Lloyd's. So when I say that cost of doing business, this means that overall reduction in terms of brokerage, in terms of managing other costs of procuring businesses or settling claim, etc. So that's the idea behind this TOM program, and they wanted to reduce it so that the Lloyd's market will look more lucrative as compared to their counterpart like US market or Bermudian market, right? And within this TOM program, they was having a lot of parallel initiative going on. Amit, can you please go on mute? I've been uh, Yeah, sure. Thank you, Amit. So yes, so within this TOM program, there are a couple of very important initiative was running, and uh, a couple of those initiative were PPL, which is Platform Limited. Then, so say for example, Amit was talking about the most of the business, even still, is placed through face-to-face communications. I mean, when broker and syndicate meet together, they face-to-face discuss the risk, and then the business got placed. But now this is slightly getting changed. Now Lloyd's is also trying to find various electronic ways to transact business. Say for example, COVID situation, they can't meet. Lloyd's underwriting room is closed now, so they are using a technology platform called PPL. And with the help of this PPL platform, they can able to submit the MRC and other related risk document to the underwriters for their review. So that is one of the initiative within the TOM program. And then they were also having a structured data capture. Say for example, as Amit said, the MRC is carrying a lot of information. It's kind of a proposal. It captured the risk information, it captured the insured information, and many other information. So the SDC was an initiative to capture this information in a digital form. There was having a technology to read this proposal form and translate into the data and store into a database, so that one data can be used multiple time, rather than one syndicate entering one data and the same data is entered by the another syndicate. So this is called a SDC, another program. And then there was having a CSRP and DSAT. DSAT is basically for cover holders and service companies. And at this moment, the cover holder and service companies was a nightmare in terms of sending business or reporting the data to the Lloyd's, because they are different. I mean, they are situated in different countries. So DSAT was a platform which can help them to send the data directly from their country to Lloyd's, and this is just to reduce the cost. So last year they have sunset the term, but the term has made its legacy, and then they initiate a very new modernization project called the Future at Lloyd's. Okay, so the Future of Lloyd's, as I said, it was based, or it was constructed on top of the Tom legacy. And again, in order to stay competitive, you have to reduce your cost, you have to be competitive, you have to be technologically competitive in the market. So there was having a multiple stream going on within the Future of Lloyd's. So one of the couple of important initiative within the Future of Lloyd's modernization program is a complex risk platform. Say for example, at this moment, whenever they discuss about placing a complex risk, when I say the complex risk, talking about nuclear plant or something like that, so at this moment they are still placing the complex risk by face-to-face discussion. So what Lloyds is trying to do, they are conceptualizing a technology platform so that they can place this complex risk in a technologically enabled platform, just to reduce the cost and overhead expenditures. Then they have something called Lloyd's Risk Exchange, and the Lloyd's Risk Exchange is basically for those cases where we have a huge volume but a very nominal premium or sum insured, right? So it's a high volume cases, so where you can get up easily, you can able in this platform, you can easily able to find the coverages, and you can able to find all the capacities and all. A very interesting, very interesting platform. And then the another important platform is about claim solutions. And claim solutions, if you can see Lloyd's, the way it is working, right, 60% of the claim actually belongs to like less than 5,000 pounds, and they are like heavy volume cases. So Lloyd's want to get rid of it, they wanted to free up their bandwidth. So they wanted to build a claim solution where they can automatically triage this claim and allocate this claim to the different stakeholders so that they can take a better decision in a very small frame of time. So claim is another important initiative which is running within the Future of Lloyd's. And then they have a syndicate in a box which will help new people to become syndicate within the Lloyd's. In order to become a syndicate within the Lloyd's, you have to follow a very stringent guidelines. But with the help of this syndicate in a box initiative, right, they have somehow relaxed this guideline so that more people can join Lloyd's as a syndicate. They can put money and do business. Recently, Munich Re, they have offered their first innovation syndicate under the syndicate in a box initiative. And recently the carbon syndicate, right, they came up with a plan, and Lloyd agreed them as one of the syndicate within the syndicate in the box program. And last but not the least, they are also offering something like a modernization of syndication of the risk. So say for example, just Amit explained that Lloyd's is a subscription market and risk is divided across multiple syndicates. But then there is this entire process evolved over the period of time, and there is no standard guidelines. But then Lloyd's recently realized that there is a lot of potential to improve the way the risk is syndicated, right? The risk is placed, because let me give you a classic example, right? When the broker places the risk into the market, then he takes the same MRC to one syndicate capture the information, it goes to the another syndicate and another syndicate and another syndicate. So this entire process is getting repeated, and all the syndicates are looking at the MRC, again and again, spending time again and again, and that is kind of like redundant work. So what they wanted to do, they wanted to put some sort of framework in place so that once the lead can understand the situation or understand the MRC, there is no need to follower to follow the MRC. So by the way, say for example in Lloyd's, you have a leader, as Amit said, and then the followers. So leader is leading in the business. Say for example, Ascot is one of the syndicate, and they are leaders in marine hull. So say for example, if any business come into the Lloyd's, the broker will go to the Ascot being a leader, evaluate the risk, understand the risk, accept the risk. But other syndicate also wanted to participate. So they also, since Ascot already accepted the risk, they believe in Ascot underwriting, so they become a follower of that risk and accept some part of the risk. So, but when they're accepting this risk, they are doing this exercise of re-evaluating things again and again. So they just Lloyds, they don't want to have this type of redundancy. So they are also thinking to modernize the way of doing business, and many others. They wanted to provide kind of a service hub which will provide all the information in the mobile phone, in the email, in the SMS. They are also leveraging the satellite imagery technology in order to analyze the risk mitigation or maybe the claim mitigation, and then drone services and many other things. So it is very interesting. I mean, Lloyds is taking a lot of, they are putting a lot of money in terms of modernizing themselves, and as a result, like we also as a business analyst who are working within the Lloyds, right, they have to understand like how fast they are emerging so that we can also catch up their pace. But from the business point of view, again, the next few years, right, are going to be very crucial and very interesting from the Lloyds modernization point of view. Yes, Amit, over to you. You are on mute, Amit.
Oh, apologies. My sincere apologies. I'm back. Yeah. So thank you, Ravi, for a good summary. Let me now see which all questions we have got. So, guys, it's 3:44. We are dot on. I think 45 minutes we said, and now we have 15 minutes remaining to talk about as a group. So let me firstly pick up some questions which few of you have raised in the chat window. So I think Aditya, you can make yourself unmute, and your question is that is it similar as co-insurance? So I think when I was talking about subscription market, you would have said this. So yes, kind of similar, where there are multiple in co-insurance. When there are multiple insurance companies, they have their share. So in subscription market also, there will be multiple syndicates, and then they will have share in the risk. So it's almost similar. There may be some nuances here and there, but it's almost similar to co-insurance. Yeah. Anything you have, Aditya, to talk further, or we can go to next question? I think Aditya is still mute. Okay, no problem. Aditya, you can come back later. Let me check now. Yeah, Kapil, Kaushik. Hi, Kapil. You can unmute yourself, and then we will address your question. So,
Hi,
is there
Amit.
any eligibility?
Hi, Ravi.
Yeah, hi, Kapil. Hi. Is there any eligibility criteria for a broker to procure business? So, I think Ravi, you may add further, but my understanding is that uh, you need to be a Lloyd's accredited broker, as I said earlier, that you need to have a right license to place business in Lloyd's market. But I think I need to check that whether there is any capital requirement, whether there is any minimum criteria which will trigger, or for example, in India, there is a minimum criteria by which a group can become a broker. So I think we can check Kapil and get back to you on capital part.
Yeah.
But yes, you need to be in the uh, Lloyd's to perform only when you are accredited by Lloyd's. Yeah.
Just wanted to add on top of Amit,
Just want
you
to
know,
ask Amit one question, like just addition, just to supplement this question. Like, is there any regulatory body also which just prescribes any guidelines for a broker?
So in London market, I think FSA is the one, Financial Services Authority. Overall, like in India, it's IRDA. Where, similarly, FSA is the one which is a regulatory body. So I'm sure that body must be taking care of all the stakeholders which participate in overall UK insurance market.
Okay.
well, and on top of it, Kapil, first of all, good to see you here after a very long time, right?
Thanks.
So yeah, so
Same here.
there's another body called LIIBA, London an international insurance broker, and they also set up some of the guidelines for this brokers who are transacting within the Lloyd's and London market. And then coming back to your first question, right, Kapil? So we have Lloyd's. They have a minimum standards. Lloyd's minimum standards. Okay. So they have a set of guidelines, and it is very clearly written. If you can go to their website, you can see that what are the minimum standard which Lloyd's broker or syndicate or anyone who are transacting with business with Lloyd can have to follow. So there are around 13, 14 minimum standard for each stakeholder. So probably you can go and you can check it out. So it's called as a Lloyd's minimum standard.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
so thank you, Ravi. We have one question from Nitin. Hi, Nitin, you can unmute yourself. So does this mean only the valid claims are put into XCS? So there can be different definitions of
So
valid
actually,
claims. Nitin.
my question from the
Yes, Nitin,
no,
not very audible.
let me expand on my question. So if you can move to the process page, is it better now?
Sorry. Yeah, better. Yeah.
Amit, are you able to hear now? Are you able to hear?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So
we
it
can
was
hear
the
you,
claims
Nitin.
process page that you presented. Sorry.
Let me go to the presentation.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So here it says that broker first goes to the claims team or the underwriters basically to evaluate
Mhm.
the claim. So and then the claim is put into XIS or basically it is XCS for claims. So why do we need this step basically? Why not broker put it directly and then the respective claim adjustment department of the companies will look into that? So why is this additional step here?
Being a subscription market, uh, Nitin, it is important to manage such things in a centrally managed manner. So central exchange, because when there are multiple partners, you can see in Titanic slip, there were huge number of syndicates which participated in that business. So I think only way to efficiently manage is through a central exchange, and by which when you receive the premium, you can pass on to syndicates through different messaging systems, and then when claim comes, then also, for example, in Lloyd's, there is a messaging called SCM, syndicate claims message, by which claims are passed to underwriters whosoever have underwritten a particular risk. So efficient way to manage is by central exchange only. But yes, there can be different processes in different market. But when it comes to Lloyd's, my understanding is that it can only be managed effectively, being a highly subscribed market. Very common that huge number of
So
syndicates participate. Yeah. Yes, Nathan.
right. So but that happens after, right? So that happens after the claim is put into XCS, right? So it basically sends messages to respective syndicate
Yes. Yes.
system.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
when we say we are evaluating the claim first prior to XCS, so and if the claim is not valid or is rejected, do they still put it into XCS?
Yes, for recording purpose, because there can be two type of invalid claims. One is where policy itself is not valid. There's
Uh-huh.
no policy exists. There can be a scenario, so then it may not fall within the system. But in a scenario where
All right.
policy is valid, but because of any reason, maybe there is a fraud, or maybe there is any breach of terms and conditions of the policy. In that case, yes, in a usual fashion, XCS also records such claims, and then uh, a communication goes to customers as and when required. So I think
Perfect.
does it answer your query?
Yes, Amit. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let me, Ravi, would you like to pick other questions?
Yes, but before that, right? Yes. What are the other questions? Vivek, just a moment.
Yeah,
Yes. Then
I'm
Shubham. Shubham. Yeah.
sorry, actually, I have not written my question. I was actually hoping that I'll
Yeah, Abhinav,
ask it
go ahead.
directly. So actually, yeah, my question is regarding PNC, that is property and casualty. Okay. So the business which we are doing in Lloyd's in London is basically commercial or it is personal as well. I'm talking only about PNC.
So
Yeah.
when it comes to Lloyd's of market, buddy,
Mhm.
you can see on the screen that what kind of business they actually do. So Lloyd's is basically a specialist market, commercial insurance market. So not much
Yeah.
of personal lines there. Uh, you can see the ratio of business they do. So mostly commercial lines, which is property, casualty, marine, energy, and energy is I think thermal plants like Badapur in Delhi. If you see ONGC plants, so uh, not much of personal lines. Lloyd's doesn't do.
No,
Maybe they do
no.
as a reinsurer. Yeah,
Okay.
is it clear?
Does it deal in a personal line or not?
It
Does it deal
deals
in
in
personal
personal
lines?
lines.
Okay, it deals.
Yeah, it deals in personal lines, but as reinsurance, mostly as a
Okay,
reinsurer. Yeah.
got it, got it. Yeah, and one follow-up question on that, Amit. Uh, we all know that it's a very, a high risk, insurance company, right? So is there a minimum value assigned to this Lloyd's marketplace so that it will take that policy or policyholder, something like that? Because I know, because we know that it's a very high valued insurance company, right? I mean, insurance place. So is there a minimum value decided?
Not I'm aware of. Apologies. Uh, because uh, it's a kind of for example, it's a stock market. If you compare a stock market, Lloyd's market works in a similar fashion. Okay, so there are brokers,
Mhm.
there are syndicates. They are sitting in the market and doing business. So it doesn't work in the manner which you said, uh, buddy. It works in a
Okay.
different manner. As far as minimum criteria is concerned, to conduct business in that market, we need to check that. Not very sure about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all from my side. Thanks, Amit. Thanks,
Yeah.
Ravi.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So Amit, I will be picking our next questions from Shubham. We have
Yes.
more minutes to go, so we will be a little bit fast. So Shubham is asking, what is the difference between the service company and the cover holder, right? So Shubham, basically, what happened? Service company cover holder is something like you can say that Lloyd's syndicate has given their express authority to some other company in some other region to write business on their behalf, right? On their behalf. It is not owned by the Lloyd's syndicate. But on the other hand side, if you can talk about the service company is basically wholly owned subsidiary of syndicate, which is operating in some other country, right? So Lloyd's cover holder is something which is not a syndicate company, which is having a syndicate's express authority to do business, but service company is wholly owned subsidiary of a syndicate in that particular market. So that is Shubham. And then we have a questions about surprised to find very less volume of aviation sector considering the huge cost of claim from Vivek. That is that is a comment. And then Pratik is asking about Lloyd's India office operating. How Lloyd's India office is operating? It is like a broker here. So Pratik, let me tell you. So Lloyd's and Pratik, unfortunately, Pratik mic is not working. Lloyd's India office is Lloyd's branch here in India, and they got a insurance, they got a license to do reinsurance business in India, right? Not into a retail line, not into a commercial line directly. They got a license to do a reinsurance business in India, and that too after GIC. GIC is a obligatory reinsurance here in India. They hold close to like 46%. But after that, whatever is left is for Lloyd's of India, Lloyd's of London, Munich Re, or other reinsurance company who is playing in India. So the answer of your question is Lloyd's is doing business. Lloyd's India is doing business as a reinsurance in Indian market? So we have another question from Satish. Uh, Satish, whether risk is written on an individual basis only, fact, or do they provide treaty services? Everything, Satish, everything. Lloyd's go with the reinsurance, except basically as a facultative reinsurance, or they will also have a treaty reinsurance depending on the situation, right? So say for example, if you are talking about the heavy volume cases, uh, and from the syndicate point of view, yes, they have a treaty agreement or arrangement. When you're talking about the specific high volume cases, Lloyd do accept the facultative reinsurance. Yes. So that
I
is
think I can pick Chandan's question,
yeah,
Ravi.
yeah, please.
Yeah, Chandan, just to clarify, when Lloyds accept reinsurance business, inward RI basically. So in that case, claims are not serviced by them. Claims are serviced by usually direct insurers wherever they are there. Okay, so invert RI doesn't work that way. But when it comes to direct business, uh, syndicates, basically managing agents, as we said, because they manage operations. So managing agents of lead underwriter or lead syndicate usually service the claim, and then through exchange, shares are taken care by other uh, syndicates. So does it clarify?
Okay.
Okay, so I think Chandan is in mute.
Yeah, thanks, Amit.
Yeah. Okay, so I think
Yeah.
Ravi, we are at 4 p.m. There are a couple of more questions, but I'll recommend that to respect time, we can close and we can address those questions separately.
Yeah, before leaving, right, just 2 minutes, we got a question from Amit. What is the difference between Lloyd's market and Lloyd's market? They are related in any ways. Okay, well, in London, right,
It's Lord's
Can you
market and
unmute?
London market.
Lloyd's market and London market. Amit?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well, see, Lloyd's, when you talk about London insurance market as a whole, right, they are having a London company market. Amit, please add me if you want. They have a company market, and then they have a bureau market, okay? So Lloyd's is kind of a bureau, which operates in the London market. And along with Lloyd's, we have other bureaus called Lerma or ILU, right? So three main bureaus, and then the normal company market, which is like Hiscox or AGs and other things. So you can say that in London you have a ordinary company like India, like what we have in India, and you have a bureaus like Lloyd, ILU, or Lerma. Maybe we can talk about Lerma and ILU in another sessions, but there is a difference. So Lloyd's market is not a right terminology. Lloyd's bureau is a right terminology, and London market is just ordinary market the way it is transacting in India.
Okay.
So that's the
I
difference.
think
Yeah, Amit.
yes, we can. Uh, I think it's a time to thank everyone.
Yeah, yes. It's a time
Thank you.
to say
Thanks a
thanks to
lot.
everyone, and
Thank
guys,
you. Thank you, Ravi and Amit.
thanks a lot for your valuable time, guys. Amit, thanks a lot for your time specifically, taking out your time and being with us. And that's all from today's video presentation. But let me tell you, this is not the only video presentation. We find that this is a very unique market. This is a very unique opportunity for all of us to understand about this market. So we will keep on having these seminars in future. I will keep on inviting other people to join and share their experience. And before leaving, right, we will share you the recording of this session in your WhatsApp or other social media profile platform, so that you can have a look. Once again, thanks a lot for joining us. Goodbye. Take a very good care of yourself and
And
stay blessed.
before you leave, please share your feedback in the chat window. So anything which we need to improve upon. Yeah. Thank you.
It was
Thank you, Amit.
absolutely
Thank
good,
you.
Amit and Ravi. Absolutely good.
Thank you.
Yeah. No,
Thank
we
you.
also want people like you and other people's right to come forward and share their knowledge and experience, so that we can grow together. Thank you.
Sure,
Anyone?
sure. It'll be, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll be reaching, to you guys soon for your knowledge and asking your time to spend and share your knowledge with others.
Okay.
Yes, sure.
Okay, everyone.
Yes, sure.
Okay, and thank you everyone for your time. Bye bye. And Kapil, I'll come back to you for your questions, and we'll talk about it. Bye bye.